Definitely not.
Tonight's game underway. Nordiques get the draw in center ice. Boudria clears it to the Houston line, but Shella has it now to Steve West. He flips it down the ice into the Quebec zone. Back to get it, Paul Baxter. Connor steps into Baxter with... They're going to give Connor a penalty. Going to give Connor a penalty right here at the start. As the goaltender Brodeur goes to that Quebec bench. Delayed penalty here against the Euros, and here comes Paulin Bordelot starting out, checked by John Gray in that Quebec zone. Bordelot gets it down to Andre Boudria. Boudria, long lead pass, tipped away by Steve West, and play is called. They're going to call an elbowing penalty here to Cam Connor. And, well, you hate to criticize the referee, but I'll tell you, that was an awfully tainted penalty.
Well, you know, Bill Friday is going to try and take charge of this game. He knows it's a tough one, but to take charge of it that way really hurts the Arrows off that starting gun. You know they're going to try and hit. You know you're going to try and slow this Quebec club down. What are you doing? You're giving the best power play in the league an opportunity to start this game off with the power play, and that hurts.
Quebec scored 3 power play goals the other night in defeating the Arrows 3-0. Now they have the extra man, and here's Ted Taylor for the Arrows. He's hooked off the puck, but goes back to get it. Now a pass to Terry Ruskowski starting in against Mark Tardif. Now Ruskowski tripped up in center ice. Play goes right on as Tardif and Ruskowski do some fencing. And here comes Jean Bernier for Quebec. Starts out on the left side. Quebec has Bernier and Tardif as the point men. Now the Nordiques move into that Houston zone. They give it away to Taylor, who shoots it down the ice, and going back to Jean Bernier for Quebec. Bernier picks it up in his own zone. Quebec has scored 6 power play goals in this series. Now the Nordiques starting out on the left wing. Jean Bernier to Serge Bernier. They are not related. Serge Bernier hits that Houston line. In across the line to Buddy Cloutier. Back in action here at the left point. Jean Bernier now in for Cloutier. Closing in on goal off the right wing. A shot! Rutledge has it hit the goalpost. Got the puck over to Terry Ruskowski starting out on left wing. Here's Ruskowski knocked down on the play. Puck cleared away by Taylor. It's picked up by Cloutier. Crowd booing. Thought Quebec should have had a penalty when Ruskowski was pulled down. Now Terry steps into Serge Bernier, who clears it into that Houston zone. Rutledge got it to Shella, who drills it out into center ice, and Jean Bernier's back to get it for Quebec. John Tonelli after him. Here's Bernier. Now to Cote, an offside pass at the center ice red line, and play is called. We have 47 seconds left in that elbowing penalty to Cam Connor.
Well, you hate to see Ruskowski get into tight situations. He's got the bad knee. He missed a couple of games, and I don't know, you're almost better to go with them on the power play and on the regular shifts and maybe take the burden of the penalties with, you know, some other players, because you've got to dive and you've got to do some different things when you're killing off those penalties, and you hate to see him maybe get that knee hurt early in the game. Let him get warmed up a little bit.
Here's Fitchner out with Sutherland and Cloutier on the Quebec power play forward line with Tardif and LaRiviere as the point men. The Arrows get the draw as Hughes and Sutherland push and shove. Now the puck comes to John Tonelli. Got it to Andre Lacroix to John Hughes. Hughes chased back inside his own line. Now to Andre Lacroix in center ice. A left wing pass to Paul Popia. A lane down that left wing. Into that Quebec zone. Popia ties it up. Going to be a penalty here to Buddy Cloutier. A holding penalty here to Quebec. And when Cam Connor comes back on in 28 seconds, Houston will get the extra man as Buddy Cloutier, who's back in action after missing the last game with an upset stomach in Quebec City. Cloutier goes off for holding at 2:05.
Well, I'd say that one was a little bit, let's be fair, I think that one was a little bit on the cheap side, you might say, too, and maybe a little bit of a balancing factor there. But, you know, it's obvious what he's trying to do is not let this game get out of hand right away. He's going to call a couple on each club so that they become a little more sensitive to what they're doing out there.
Arrows have Lacroix with Tonelli against Fitchner and Sutherland. Face off to the right of Brodeur. 28 seconds left in the Connor penalty. Arrows get the draw, but now the Nordiques take it away. Here's Tonelli spun around. Wally Weir tripped up. Play goes right on it. Fitchner moves on to the center ice. He's bumped by John Hughes. Now Paul Popia with the puck for the Arrows. Still with it, circling at his own blue line. Popia, a right wing pass to Andre Lacroix. Moving into the Quebec zone. Here's Lacroix. Winding up a shot wide of the Quebec goal. Here's the rebound taken by John Tonelli. Tonelli trying to make a play. Fitchner clears it out and down the ice. And the Arrows have to go back. Touching at Paul Popia. Nordiques are called for icing. Now Cam Connor stepping back on. Houston has the power play.
Fitchner's been a big factor for Quebec. In fact, played as well as anybody on that hockey club. And the Arrows are going to pay a little more attention to him. He's not the kind of hockey player that usually scores a lot of goals for you, but he can score some key goals, as he did in that second game here, getting the Arrows are ahead 3-1, getting that second goal to ignite that Quebec Hockey Club, and he'll kill penalties, and he's a hard-working hockey player.
Let's remind the fans of that season ticket hotline, 629-1050, 629-1050. Get your season tickets for next year. Help the Arrows into the National Hockey League. Here are the Arrows on the power play with Ruskowski, Gray, and Lukowicz up front. Popeil and John Hughes are the point men. Nordiques get the draw in their own zone, and here comes Bob Fitchner out with Andre Boudriat. Boudriat on center ice, lost that puck, and here comes Paul Popeil moving into the Quebec zone. Popeil for the Arrows, drop past Ruskowski, into Paul Popeil, has it checked away by Wally Weir at the right point. John Hughes holding it in. Now near corner, Terry Ruskowski to Lukowicz, a shot! The red line went on, but the puck was knocked away by the goaltender. Here's Ruskowski bumped by Weir. Now play is called, and there's going to be a penalty here, high sticking to Wally Weir, I believe. Or is it Lukowicz who's going to be going off? We're going to get another penalty here.
Number 12.
And who's going to get it?
Minutes. High stick.
Referee Bill Friday over at the penalty timekeepers area.
I'd like to get a look on a replay there, because that puck looked like it either hit the post. It looked like it went across underneath the goaltender. Lukowicz firing. And that puck right on the ice. A beautiful shot. Hitting the post and coming back out. And the angle came back out, Jerry. Pretty tough to judge who it was in, but it was right on the post there, and a close one. And that's what the Arrows need. They need to pick up that first goal. But now Lukowicz in the box.
For high sticking at 3:01, a rather unfortunate penalty of the kind you can't take,
the
really,
puck hit the post,
at
will
this
you,
point
gentlemen?
of the season.
Yeah, a couple of early penalties here that have hurt the Arrows, and of course Quebec coming up with one. But you need to get some momentum. You need to let Quebec know that you're going to take charge of this hockey game, and there is absolutely no doubt in your mind who's going to win it.
Here's Scott Campbell on the ice for the Arrows, moving into that Quebec zone, tries to make a play, bumped by Wally Weir. The Riviere on the end boards in his own zone, got it to Bob Fitchner. On left wing to Steve Sutherland starting out. Here's Sutherland overskating it as he was checked by Taylor. Taylor got it to Larry Lund. Lund flips it into that Quebec zone on left wing for Al McLeod, going in deep. A shot stopped by Brodeur, and play is called. And from the summit, this is Houston Arrows hockey. Will be out of the penalty box in 43 seconds, and then the Nordiques will get the extra man. There's no score here in the first period. On the faceoff at the right point, Scott Campbell in that Quebec zone shooting. That's tipped wide of the goal. Lund after the rebound has it knocked away by Weir. Here's Steve Sutherland with it, dropping it on the end boards in the Quebec zone to Gary LaRiviere. Out on right wing and center ice to Bob Fitchner, fires it down into the Houston zone, caught by Rutledge. He drops it off, sets it up for John Tonelli. He got it to Al McLeod, and the Moose starts out. Headmans that puck to Larry Lund. Right wing pass to Scott Campbell, breaking in against Wally Weir, around Weir. Into the Quebec zone, Campbell, a shot! Save Brodeur, rebound, Lund, a shot, stopped by Brodeur, and play is called.
So close for the Arrows, and they cannot continue to get that close and not score. They have got to put it in behind Weir. They've got to jam that puck in. They cannot take the side. You almost have to go through the goaltender. Scotty Campbell making a nice move on the boards to get by Weir. He just walked right by him. He had the sharp angle. Tried to fire it through. He's got to almost drive. Larry Lund picking up the loose puck, couldn't get it by Weir. But the Arrows are going to have to just make sure it goes in there, not take quite the, play the percentages. You got to get those 100% on your side.
On the draw, Nordiques get it to Mark Tardif. Now to Jean Bernier. Quebec will get the man advantage when Cloutier comes out in 6 seconds. Now here comes Jean Bernier for Quebec. Out in center ice to Serge Bernier. Penalized player Cloutier back on. Serge Bernier breaking into that Houston zone. Checked from behind by Taylor and Campbell. Now Campbell for the Arrows clears it down the length of the ice. Quebec has the extra man. Going back to get it, Buddy Cloutier. No score here in the first period. Cloutier starting out into center ice across the red line. In on left wing to Tardif off his skates. It rolls to center ice. Nordiques take over. Loose puck. Francois Lacombe to Buddy Kluche. Almost give it away to Taylor. They get it to Jean Bernier. 30 seconds left in the penalty to Morris Lukowicz. Here's Serge Bernier, bumped by Ted Taylor. Got by him on the boards on the far side in that Quebec zone. Now to Francois Lacombe. Moving up to center ice. Lacombe still with that puck. Fires it in for Tardif. Terry Ruskowski breaks it up. Linesman Ron Asselstein falls. He's a little slow in getting up. Asselstein may have hurt a knee out there, and here's Ruskowski for the Arrows. He's tied up by Tardif. Ron Asselstein's been shaken up here. Linesman over along the far boards. Now John Hughes to Terry Ruskowski, plays it to Paul Popiel. Lukowicz is back on. Here's Popiel in on right wing to Terry Ruskowski. Moving around one man, in for Lukowicz. To Ruskowski, a shot! Off the goaltender's pads, up over the glass into the crowd. Ron Asselstein skating around out there. The linesman, he was shaken up earlier on that shift, but apparently he's okay now. Good job of penalty killing there by the Arrows.
And coming back, and if you take the steam out of this hockey club, particularly on the power play, they have been effective for 6 goals so far. The Arrows only 2 in the series so far, so that's been a big factor.
And a big factor, too. Quebec has scored the first goal on every hockey game in this series.
Exactly. Bill was talking about that this morning, and I think our guys realize that they have had more of the good opportunities in the early going.
Here's Lacroix on the face-off against Boudria to the right of Brodeur. No score here in the first period from the face-off. Nordiques get it to Paul Baxter. He's bumped by John Tonelli and crunched to the ice. Popiel allowing for Lacroix. He missed it on the inboard. Blairway centers it. Oh, just out of the reach of John Tonelli. Puck goes all the way down the ice into the Houston zone. Goaltender Wayne Rutledge, a veteran out of Barrie, Ontario, sets it up for John Hughes, who lost it to Paul in Bordelot. Then Hughes went back to take it away. Here is John Hughes for the Arrows. Moving out, but lost it to Dubé. Dubé flips it over to Boudria, has it taken away by John Tonelli. The Arrows a little disorganized in their own zone right now. Hughes in against Dubé, and Dubé has blasted into the boards. Now Laraway has it for the Arrows. Down Laraway. Drops it off for Paul Popiel. He's checked by Boudria. Quebec doing a great job of forechecking here right now. They get it to a teammate. It's intercepted by John Tonelli, and back come the Arrows. Clears it out into center ice, and Baxter takes over for Quebec. At his own blue line to Jim Dory on left wing to Norm Dubé. He's bumped by Laraway. On right wing, here's Paul Baxter in his own zone for Quebec, twisting and turning. Lost it now to John Tonelli to Andre Lacroix. Left point, Paul Popiel. A shot, that's blocked, near boards. Here's Laraway after it. He's checked by Dory. They fight for that puck. Tonelli digging after it. Puck is tied up along the boards. Tonelli digs it loose into the corner for Andre Lacroix. Back to the right point for John Hughes. He was tangled up along the boards and missed it. Rolls back into the Quebec, or into the Houston zone at least, and back to get it. Paul Popiel. On right wing now to John Hughes. Sidesteps a check by Warren Miller. Hughes on left wing to Paul Popiel as the Arrows break out. Long lead pass for Tonelli. Tipped away in center ice, and here's Hansis bumping Miller. Now they get it to John Hughes. He's checked, but they get it to Larry Lund. On right wing in for Hansis, too far ahead. He goes in against Wally Weir. Now the puck given away to Larry Lund off his skate. Here's Ted Taylor in the near corner. Taylor trying to make a play. Hansis is tripped up. At the point, Campbell a shot. That goes wide. Crowd booing as Hansis was taken out of the play and no penalty was called. Here's Larry Lund to Ted Taylor for the Arrows. No score here in the first period. Campbell on right wing to Shella. In center ice for Larry Lund. The puck went off his stick all the way down the ice, back to touch it Gary LaRiviere. And the Arrows are called for icing. And from the summit, this is Houston Arrows hockey. Quebec defense on right wing. They catch up with him now. Lund trying to make a play. Dumps it along the boards for Ron Hansis. Hansis centers it in front. Taylor couldn't get to it. LaRiviere shoots it to center. Going back is Scott Campbell for the Arrows, and they're passing the puck a lot better here than they did in the last game in Quebec City. Shella on left wing in his own zone to Campbell. Out in center ice for Ted Taylor. Taylor now to Larry Lund into that Quebec zone. A lead pass for Taylor into the far corner. Centers it. It's knocked away by the goaltender. Up with that puck, Gary LaRiviere on left wing for Bob Fitchner. Fitchner moves to center ice. Moving into that Houston zone. Fitchner across the line. Checked on the play by Hansis. They center it. Here's Tardif moving in. A shot. Rutledge the save. Now the puck comes back to Wally Weir at the left point, holding it in. He's checked by Hansis. Larry Lund breaks it up, and the Arrows start out. Lead pass for Taylor. trying to get around Lacombe as we have Campbell and Tardif bringing the sticks up. Campbell and Tardif. Puck cleared into the Houston zone. Rutledge plays it to John Hughes. Fitchner after him. Hughes bumped by Fitchner into the boards. Now we have Campbell and Tardif going to the boards. Ruskowski moves in for the Arrows. Puck is held and play is called as we have pushing and shoving in that far corner down in the Houston zone. Campbell and Hughes in the middle of it for the Arrows. Tardif and Fitchner for the Quebec Nordiques is now Hansis and Fitchner push and shove. Ruskowski comes over for the Arrows.
Oh, one thing about it, you got Tardif and Campbell. They're about the same size as far as height. You like to look right at a guy when you're going to challenge him, and certainly they're probably equal in size. And Scotty Campbell, of course, not with quite as many years' experience as Tardif. And Tardif, I think, realizes they had their tempers going a little bit, but he kind of backed off a little bit. Campbell going in the corner, and both of them, I think, realizing they want to stay on the ice. This is not a game you want to play in the penalty box.
Terry Ruskowski with Morris Lukowich and Paul Trebenci out there for the Arrows against Serge Bernier, Mark Tardif. And Buddy Kluche will give you the scratches on both teams in just a moment. Here's Paul Popio for the Arrows. No score here in the first period. Now 2. Lukowich to Ruskowski. Long lead pass for Trebenci in on right wing. Into that Quebec zone. Trebenci trying to make a play. Tardif checks him. Trebenci still with that puck. Now Tardif stealing it. Up with it is Tardif in the far corner to Francois Lacombe. Shoots it up on the boards to Kluche in center ice. Kluche moving into that Houston zone. Going in deep. Tripped up on the play by Popio. No penalty call. Popio holding it in his own zone, ties it up with Kluche now, and play is called. For Quebec, they're without J.C. Tremblay, Kurt Blackenberry, Matty Hagman, Chris Bordelot, Chris Evans, Rick Morris, and Jim Corsi. Arrows without Ernie Wakely, Rich Preston, and Larry Hale. What's the latest on Ernie Wakely?
Well, he skated this morning with the club, Jerry. His leg feeling a little bit better. In fact, enough that Bobby Brown wants him to start exercising. Talking to Ernie, and he feels that by the next series, if the Arrows get into that second series, he would be ready to go. But it's going to be awfully difficult. He hasn't got had the pads on here yet. That's another strain on the leg. He needs a week or so of good hard practice.
Ruskowski wins the face-off now to Paul Popio on the end boards to Morris Lukowich in that Houston zone. Winding up, tripped up, gets up on the skates again, moves the puck to center ice around Tardif. Lukowich moving through center into that Quebec zone, through the defense, lost the puck, goes near corner after it, centers in front, goaltender knocks it away. Brodeur on right wing, shoots it ahead for Serge Bernier moving through center. Bernier into that Houston zone on right wing, centers it for Tardif. He was checked in the play by Trebenci. Now Lukowich with that puck on left wing to Paul Popio. No score here in the first period. Popio tried to force his way out, couldn't. They get it to Kluche in front, lost it now to John Hughes. And here are the Arrows. Hughes starting out on left wing, drop pass to Terry Ruskowski, the Arrows captain, back in action here tonight. Ruskowski in on left wing for Lukowich, tipped away by Kluche, and here's Andre Boudriat for the Nordiques. Shoots it into the Houston zone. Rutledge starts out, but lets Ruskowski go back and get it. Here comes Ruskowski for the Arrows, moving through center. Terry Ruskowski with that puck into the Quebec zone on right wing, goes into the corner with Jean Bernier. They fight for it on the end boards. Here's Ruskowski for the Arrows at the left point. Now Al McLeod holding it in, right point, Shella. The shot tipped away in front. Here's Laraway, the rebound, a shot. Brodeur the save, rebound. Pushed right through the goal mouth by Laraway. Now the puck battle for Ruskowski steps into Cote. Puck cleared to center by Quebec, and here's Kluche one-on-one against Al McLeod. A shot over the top of the goal. Arrows with a couple of great scoring chances, failed to put it in. Cote gives it away to John Tonelli. Breaking back through center for the Arrows. Tonelli trying to get around Dory, can't, but got it to Andre Lacroix. Centers it in front. Laraway a shot wide. Rebound at the right point. Shella in deep in the corner to Lacroix. Centers it for Tonelli. Here's Tonelli fighting for that puck at the right point for Shella. Shella going in deep on the end boards for John Tonelli. It's taken away by Jim Dory. Dory hammered to the boards by Tonelli. Laraway steps into a man, Lagacy, and play is called. Face-off will be in the circle to the right of Richard Brodeur. The Houston Arrows are driving right now, I'll tell you.
John Tonelli just taking Dory out of the play as he tried to get at that puck, and great strength in the arms of Tonelli as he uses that stick effectively as a checking tool. You know, I don't think there's anybody on the club that knows how to use it more effectively. Perhaps maybe Teddy Taylor, and a lot of the things maybe that John's learned about the use of the stick have come from Teddy Taylor.
Arrows send out Andre Lacroix still with Tonelli and Laraway. McLeod and Shella on defense. Quebec has Boudriat, Dubé, and Paul and Bordelot with Weir and LaRiviere on defense. No score here in the first period. Quebec gets the draw. Gary LaRiviere shoots it around on the near boards for Dubé. Starts out, headmans that puck to Andre Boudria. In now for Pollard. Borlo has a break. In on goal. Rutledge slides across to break it up. Now the Nordiques center it, and Andre Lacroix back-checking breaks it up. Here comes Lacroix having it poked away by Andre Boudria. Paul and Bordelot had a goal and scoring chance, but had it knocked away by goaltender Wayne Rutledge. Don Laraway on right wing and center ice. Rink-wide pass on left wing for Tonelli. Into that Quebec zone. Overskates it. Now LaRiviere with it. Shoots it high into the air to center ice. Going back after it, John Shella for the Arrows. Chased to the near boards. Shella clears the puck to center ice. Boudria takes over. Andre Boudria got it now to Paul and Bordelot in around one man, but gave it away to Shella. And here's Shella for the Arrows. Lead pass for Lacroix. Into the Quebec zone on left wing to Tonelli. It's intercepted by Paul and Bordelot. And Bordelot starts out of his own zone on left wing to Dubé. It's knocked away by Laraway. Now it's shot to center ice. Boudria 1-on-2. Boudria in against Campbell. A shot right on. Rutledge the save. And he sets it up for Andre Lacroix. No score here in the first period. Here's Lacroix for the Arrows starting out. Moving through center. Andre Lacroix lead pass in for Laraway. It's offside at the Quebec line. And from the summit, this is Houston Arrows hockey. Score here in the first period at the Summit. Game 5 of this playoff series. Larry Lund shoots it into the Quebec zone, going back as Jean Bernier against Ted Taylor. They get it to Warren Miller. Miller taken out along the end boards in his own zone, plays it to Francois Lacombe on right wing to Bob Fitchner. He's knocked flying by John Hughes. And the Nordiques have it in center ice as Fitchner and Hughes do a little fencing. Here's Warren Miller moving through center. He's spun around. Puck into Steve Sutherland. A shot blocked at the defense by Campbell. It was offside anyway at that Houston blue line. And tonight, in essence, the Arrows out-muscling the Quebec Nordiques here in the first period.
They're taking their players and their checks right out of the play. They're tying them up, and they're not letting them go. In fact, taking them right into the boards well after the play.
Now the puck dropped in center ice, and here comes Jean Bernier for Quebec in this scoreless first period. Clears it into the near corner in the Houston zone. Didn't wait long enough, as Miller was in there and didn't clear out in time to make it onside.
Arrows having the territorial edge here in the first half of the first period, out shooting Quebec 4 shots on net against 1 shot on net.
Perhaps the best save of the first period was Rutledge breaking up that breakaway by Paul and Bordelot, just coming out and sweeping the puck away from the Quebec goaltender. Here's John Hughes leading a rush. Skipping by one check, got knocked to the ice, dumps it into the corner. Taylor now to Larry Lund into the slot for Hansis on the backhand. A shot, save, rebound. Taylor a shot. That stopped at the defense. Hansis the rebound. It's tipped away by Warren Miller down the ice, and here's a foot race for it. Rutledge comes out to get it away from Miller around in the far corner to Scott Campbell. Campbell lead pass on right wing for Ron Hansis. At that Houston blue line, Hansis bumped on the play by Fitchner, got it to Scott Campbell. On left wing to Ted Taylor in center ice. He's checked in the play by Miller. Taylor bumped by Miller. Miller with that puck shoots it into the Houston zone as Fitchner steps into Taylor, and Campbell is after Fitchner. Now John Hughes for the Arrows. Lead pass for Hansis. They call it offside at the center ice red line. And play is called as Lacombe and Hansis collide after the whistle. 629-1050, that Arrows season ticket hotline.
You look at the other series in the World Hockey Association, of course, Winnipeg leading Birmingham with 3 victories to 1, winning that game 5-1, winning 9-3, 8-3, 3-2 loss to Birmingham in Birmingham, and then a 5-1 victory. And New England coming winning 1 Edmonton the other night to take a 3-1 lead in their series, 9-1 over Edmonton. So all the series seem to be the same.
Congratulations to Mark and Ginger Howe and grandfather Gordie Howe, as Travis Gordon Howe, the firstborn to Mark and Ginger Howe, announced here just recently. Gordie Howe, the grandfather now. Here come the Arrows, 3-on-2. Ruskowski in on right wing to Trebenci. Into that Quebec zone, got by Dory, goes in deep, Serge Bernier gave it away to Lukowicz, in front to Ruskowski, it's knocked away. Now the puck picked up by Serge Bernier in that Quebec zone. There's no score here in the first period. Oh, Ruskowski broke his stick over Serge Bernier. Play goes right on as Ruskowski checked Bernier. Good legal check, but One with a little thump to it. Here come the Arrows out. Lukowicz down left wing for Houston. Lukowicz trying to get by Baxter, and Baxter breaks it up. Here comes Al McLeod as it knocked away by Tarda. Now a left wing pass to Terry Ruskowski. On right wing to John Shella, moving towards that Quebec line, pushes it into the Quebec zone. Brodeur, the goaltender, sets it up back of the net for Jim Dory. Dory on right wing to Buddy Kluche. Ruskowski knocks him off the puck, and Serge Bernier shoots it to center. Here's Mark Tardif skipping by one man, moving into that Houston zone. Tardif trying to get around Shella, checked by 3 men now, and the Arrows finally get the puck. 3 men at Tardif before they could get it away from him. Now the puck cleared away by Quebec, and here's Kluche moving in on right wing. Stops now to make a play. Drop pass for Tardif. He was checked on the play by Lukowicz, and here comes Terbenci down left wing. Lead pass for Ruskowski on right wing into the Quebec zone. Ruskowski in now for Terbenci, and he scores!
Beautiful, beautiful move by Terbenci. He moved that puck all the way across, and then Ruskowski timing it perfectly, and as it hit his stick, it was in the net.
Paul Terbenci, his first goal as a member of the Houston Arrows, and a big one. Terry Ruskowski delayed for just an instant before he passed that puck and put it right under the stick of Terbenci, and he wasted no time in shooting. The Arrows lead it 1-0.
Beautiful pass by Ruskowski. Excellent deflection, or turning that puck toward the net by Paul Terbenci. And that should lift the Arrows. They needed one badly. They needed to take the lead, and they needed the first goal in this hockey game. And they got it.
From the summit, this is Houston Arrows hockey. Steve West in that Quebec zone. Wally Weir takes it away, tries to clear it, shoots it up ahead for Andre Boudria. The Nordiques starting out. Boudria on center ice. Steve West bats it away from him, but Gary LaRiviere carries on. Shoots it into the Houston zone. It's caught by Rutledge. He sets it up for Scott Campbell. Arrows leading 1-0 as Gray starts out for the Arrows. In center ice to Steve West. It's taken away. Now West steals it from a Quebec player, moving in with Connor across that Quebec line. Steve West in front for Gray. It's tipped away by Weir, held in by Scott Campbell. Dropped on the end boards, and here comes Weir starting out into the corner against Gray. Pushes it to the blue line, held in Popeil. A shot, Connor deflects it. He scores! Cam Connor makes it 2-0 for the Houston Arrows after Popeil let the shot go from the left point. And the goal by Connor gives the Arrows a 2-0 lead.
Keep going, because you've got to keep going in this hockey club. That's the momentum they needed. That's what they needed to get the early goal and to get the second one. Connor on a deflection. I know he's got a sore hand, but I'll tell you what, it feels a lot better right now. Back to the point. Popeil with that quick shot. Probably nobody can get it away quicker than Pope from that point. On the deflection, Weir was down to block the low shot. Up in the corner, beautifully done by Connor.
I want to talk a little bit about that goal in just a minute. As Popeil moves through center, puts it into that Quebec zone. It's offside as Laraway is there, and now play is called. Those Quebec guys were standing around a little bit looking for Mr. Connor, as the Quebec players should have really cleared it out, but they were looking around to see if there was going to be any hitting going on, and that allowed the Arrows that extra bit of time to let Popeil get that shot away.
It's obviously a big factor, and the Arrows lucky enough to have both he and Ruskowski back in for this big game.
Small crowd on Henry tonight. Tonelli steals it, a shot, and he fired it wide. Now Laraway centers it. Lacroix looking to make a play at the left point. Popeil winds up. The shot blocked by Paul and Bordelot. Popeil got the rebound. In along the far boards, Laraway in the slot. Tonelli in for Lacroix. He was checked. Campbell in deep to hold it in. Scott Campbell for the Arrows trying to make a play. Centers it. It's knocked away. Centers it again. It's held now at the side of the goal, and play is called. Arrows buzzing around that Quebec zone, and John Tonelli had a great chance, but just fired it wide of Quebec goaltender Richard Brodeur. The Arrows leading 2-0 here.
71 minutes, 21 seconds of shutout hockey. Brodeur playing against the Arrows, and now 2 quick goals. 2 quick goals have opened this game up for the Arrows. And you got to keep charging. We learned that, I think, in the second game. I tell you, win this hockey game, and it comes down really, Jerry, You've got 2 days off, and this is a key factor for the Arrows. The next game is not till Wednesday, and then the 6th game in Quebec, even though it is in Quebec. There's a lot of pressure going to be, but let's take this one. Let's get
one
this
at a time.
one at a
They
time.
finally learned. You finally learned. Here's Ruskowski, Lukowicz, and Terbenci. This is the line that gave the Arrows their first goal. Ruskowski against Serge Bernier to the left of Brodeur, and the Nordiques get the draw. Here's Jean Bernier starting out on the left side. Lead pass for Serge Bernier over his stick, and here's John Schella. Now clears it into center ice for Terbenci, down right wing into that Quebec zone. It's taken away by Serge Bernier, and the Nordiques take over. Serge Bernier to Francois Lacombe, shoots the puck into center ice. Cloutier missed it. Here's Al McLeod to John Schella. Schella, left wing pass to Al McLeod. Lead pass in center ice for Terbenci, got it away from Jean Bernier, then was checked from behind by Mark Tardif. Up with that puck for Quebec, Francois Lacombe to Jean Bernier. Out in center ice to Mark Tardif. Watch it here. In on right wing to Cloutier. Into that Houston zone. A shot wide of the Arrows' goal. Rebound, Serge Bernier near boards. Bumped by Ruskowski. Left point, Jean Bernier. A shot. Save. Rebound. A shot. Left wide of the goal. Rebound. Tardif. Got it to Bernier. A shot. Save made by Rutledge, and he holds on. From the summit, this is Houston Arrows hockey. Face-off will be in the circle to the left of Arrows goaltender Wayne Rutledge, who came up with a couple of brilliant saves there. Backup goaltender tonight for the Arrows is Lynn Zimmerman. The backup goaltender for Quebec is Ken Broderick. Arrows leading 2-0 here in the first period. 629-1050. That Arrows season ticket hotline. And right from the face-off, Lukowicz a little over-anxious. They'll have to drop the puck again.
Big Larry Lund out there for that face-off, and he's a right-hand shot. He's going to be drawing toward the goaltender. You got to be ready.
Right from the face-off, Bernier a shot stopped by Rutledge. The puck comes to Al McLeod, winding up in his own zone on right wing to Terry Ruskowski. Here's Ruskowski for the Arrows, spinning away from Mark Tardif, starting down right wing. Lost it now to Serge Bernier, and Schella clears it down the ice. Racing it after it, Morris Lukowicz touches it. It was offside at the center ice red line when Lukowicz finally caught up with that puck.
The thing about Luke is he seems to be going in a different gear than anybody else out there. He just is so quick. But isn't it very noticeable how much that Terry Ruskowski means to this hockey club out there tonight? And, of course, makes it tough on Bill Deneen when he has to mix his lines up and change so many. When with Ruskowski there, he can basically leave Ruskowski and Lukowicz together and seems to be able to have three good, solid lines.
Here's Al McLeod for the Arrows, who lead 2-0 here in the first period. Around on right wing to Paul Terbenci. He tried to clear it out. He's checked by Tardif. They tie it up along the near boards. The Arrows taking no chances here with people like Bernier, Tardif, and Cloutier out there.
There's a good sign of experience there. Terbenci on that wing. He did not give the puck away. He could have tried to move it out of the zone, but he knew there was a defensive back there. You try and bank it, a loose puck, and away you go. You're tied up on the boards, and you've got to know where that puck's going.
Face-off will be just inside of the Houston blue line. Arrows leading 2-0, 2:30 remaining here in the first period. Season ticket drive can use a little help here.
629-1050. Give it a call. Let's see how many we can get out there tonight. If you're listening and you haven't bought tickets yet for next year's season, why don't you give it a call? Just 10% down, not too much, and there are a good variety of price ranges there for you.
And this is for the National Hockey League. Remember, if the Arrows don't get into the NHL, you get your money back. Here's Francois Lacombe in our right wing to Serge Bernier, checked away by Lukowicz, who clears it up into the Arrows bench, and play is called. Face-off will be inside the Houston blue line once again. You would have liked to have seen, of course, you're greedy, you would like to have seen the Arrows salt away another goal after they had scored those two quick ones, and they had a couple of chances. Because this Quebec club, you just can't sit back on your heels against them.
Boy, you've got to keep it inside their blue line a good percentage of the time and keep the heat on them, because they are going to score if you let them have any sustained pressure. They're too sharp around the net.
They miss Brackenberry. I think they haven't thrown their weight around at all tonight. Now in the face-off, the Arrows get it into center ice, and here's Paul Baxter with that puck on left wing to Jim Dory. Back to Baxter, standing at that Quebec blue line. Arrows leading 2-0. Baxter shoots it into the Houston zone on goal. Rutledge drops it off to John Hughes on the near boards. Clears it up ahead for Hansis. Knocked away by Sutherland. He's pinned by 2 Arrows along the boards. Now Fitchner is tying up John Hughes, and play is called. Going to be a face-off at the top of the circle to the right of Wayne Rutledge, who's out there shaking his head a little bit as he talks to a couple of the Arrows.
John Hughes has been one of the steadiest performers on that Arrows blue line in the latter part of the season, and particularly here through the playoffs.
Led the Arrows in plus-minus this season.
And it's been one of the top plus in the playoffs, too.
Can you imagine, now the puck is tied up outside the Arrows blue line, of play is called, and can you imagine that John Hughes, who on the regular season, what did Hughes have here? He had 28 points compared to Mark Tardif's league-leading 154 points. Hughes, he had a better plus-minus than Mark Tardif.
He was the top plus-minus in our hockey club.
I think Tardif was a plus 15 and Hughes was a plus 20. Now John Hughes for the Arrows, trying to clear it out. It's held in by Fitchner. Big Fitchner playing another strong game here, and now it's called because the Nordiques hit it with a high stick, and the Nordiques picked it up again. Play is whistled down. 1:32 remaining here in period number 1. The Arrows leading 2-0. 629-1050. That Arrows season ticket hotline. Get your season tickets. Help the Arrows into the NHL next season. What have the ads said in the paper the last couple of days? Shoot the Arrows into the NHL.
We don't really care how we get there, as long as we get there.
Shoot it, push it, pull them. Just get them there. 7,000 season tickets is what it's going to take. Now the puck in that Houston zone. Play is called, and we're going to be getting a penalty here. I think it's going to be Sutherland and Hughes who will be going off. Referee Bill Friday blows the whistle here and calls Mr. Hughes and Mr. Sutherland over in the penalty box. They will cool their heels for a couple of minutes with high sticking minors at 18:32.
Sutherland, who the last home game here got kicked out of the game as Connor, and he went into it, but he's a competitor, and he plays a good up and down game for you, a good tough game for you, and a lot of times he can attract the attention of somebody out there, and while his line mates come up with a big goal. But Fitchner and Brackenberry, along with Sutherland, make a pretty good combination, and Brackenberry is not in the lineup here tonight. Has bad stomach muscles, Jerry, and truly some not the inside ones, but the outside ones.
Face off in that Houston zone. The Arrows get the draw and clear it down the ice. We will be taking your phone calls between periods here tonight. I'll give you that phone number in just a moment. Here's Warren Miller in center ice, tied up by Larry Lund. The Arrows leading 2-0. Dory on left wing now into the center ice zone. Got it to Miller, spun around by Larry Lund, skates it back into that Quebec zone, starts the center ice, drops it off for Bob Fitchner, moving through center. Fitchner in across that Houston line, a shot. Rutledge to save, rebound. Rutledge pushed it away from Miller as he went to shoot. Now the puck taken by McLeod. He tries to start out with it. Less than a minute to play in the first period. Lead pass for Scott Campbell, moving through center. In on right wing for Larry Lund. Lund stops in that Quebec zone, trying to make a play. Still with that puck. Larry Lund for the Arrows, closing in, shoots off the leg of McLeod. It bounces wide of the goal. Now here's Jim Dory on left wing for Quebec, starting out with it against Taylor, who steals it. Now Taylor in center ice against Miller. They fight for that puck along the near boards and hold it for a face-off. Larry Lund, you don't often see him take a slap shot, but there he was allowed to walk in from a good distance, and he hit Al McLeod with it.
He's sort of parted. McLeod standing in front of the net more as a screen, and you really do not mind getting hit with the puck if it ends up in the twine, but that time it went off of McLeod. Hit the pad of Brodeur, went into the corner, and McLeod seems to know when to get himself moving into that zone on an offensive move without getting himself defensively in a bad position.
39 seconds remaining here in the first period. Arrows have a 2-0 lead. 1:10 remaining in those minor penalties to Hughes and Sutherland. Now Lukowicz fighting with Tardif for that puck. It comes to center ice. The Arrows get it to Scott Campbell. Campbell lead pass for Lukowicz on left wing to Al McLeod. Each team a man short. Now to Terry Ruskowski. Ruskowski left wing pass for McLeod. Tried to get it through for Ruskowski. It's tipped away by Serge Bernier. Bernier over to Tardif on left wing, moving into that Houston zone. Tardif checked on the play, lost it now to Ruskowski, and the Arrows break back 2-on-2. Ruskowski with McLeod against Weir and LaRiviere. Here's Ruskowski spinning around. Weir is tripped up. Play goes right on, and back come the Nordiques down left wing. It's Serge Bernier with Gary LaRiviere. Long shot in by Bernier, high off the glass at the buzzer. And the first period ends with the Houston Arrows skating off with a 2-goal lead. Our score at the end of the first period, it's the Houston Arrows 2 and the Quebec Nordiques nothing. 526-4984 is our telephone number if you'd like to talk with us on the talk show here between periods. 526-4984. Get your calls in now. It's all right, second period about to begin. Referee Bill Friday drops the puck, and period number 2 is underway. Jim Dory in his own zone for Quebec, chased by Terry Ruskowski and hammered into the boards. Now the puck taken by Baxter, checked by McLeod. Puck held in by the Arrows. Here's Ruskowski pulled down on the play. No penalty called at Arrows bench, yelling at referee Bill Friday. Now Ruskowski takes Tardif to the boards, and here comes Serge Bernier on right wing to Jim Dory. Dory moving through center, lead pass for Serge Bernier. Moving into that Houston zone. Bernier knocked off the puck by Morris Lukowicz, and here's Al McLeod for Houston. Left wing pass to Terry Ruskowski. Ruskowski misses a check by Tardif, trying to get away from Bernier. Tripped up, no penalty called. Baxter from the point, a shot. That's fired wide. Tardif went down. Now John Hughes checks a man. Here's Sutherland, a shot. Rundlich's the save, and he holds on, as Serge Bernier was looking for a rebound.
Arrows coming out of the chute, hitting in this second period. Ruskowski, you know, you think he'd favor that knee a little bit, but he is a reckless character. He really put it to Dory, and if there's anybody on that team that deserves to get it, it's probably him.
No, don't show your partiality here.
Well, that's true. That's the way I feel.
Larry Lund will come out to take the face-off for the Arrows to the right of Serge Bernier. Or to the right of Wayne Rutledge against Serge Bernier, I should say. Face-off will be to the right of that Arrows goaltender. Houston leading 2-0 here in the second period of play. Face-off in that Houston zone. Here's Lund against Bernier, and the Arrows get the draw too. Chalet tried to clear it up on the wing for Lukowicz, but fans on it. Here comes Al McLeod to Morris Lukowicz, trying to get away from Kluche. Kluche stole it. Got it to Dory, right point Baxter into the slot for Serge Bernier. Bernier centers it now. It's tipped away by Shella, and here is Buddy Kluche. Right point Baxter, a shot, fired wide, rebound. Tardif on the inboards, tied up by Al McLeod and pinned there, and Larry Lund gets the puck for the Arrows. Up on right wing to Terry Ruskowski. Ruskowski, lead pass for Lund. It's intercepted by Baxter, a shot. McLeod blocked it, loose puck. Baxter and Lund go to the corner. Now they push and shove. Baxter and Larry Lund. Under the watchful eye of Bill Friday, and back come the Arrows. Lukowicz moving into that Quebec zone. Drop pass for Ruskowski. Terry Ruskowski for the Arrows, trying to make a play. Ruskowski still with that puck. Holding on, right point, Shella, the drive. It's blocked at the defense by Serge Bernier. And back come the Arrows. Lead pass, Kluche has a breakaway. In a shot, Rundlich's the save. Rebound cleared away by Shella. This crowd roaring with every move the Arrows make. Here's Serge Bernier, chased back by Shella into center ice. Bernier moving into the Houston zone on right wing for Dory, stopping now a shot. Rundlich the save, juggles it. Shella clear the rebound into the corner. Here's Popio for Houston, watched by Kluche, fires it around on right wing for Paul Terbenci. Terbenci lost it now to Tardif, centers it. Kluche over along the near boards. Kluche bumped by Paul Popio, got it to Baxter. Left point for Wally Weir. Weir a shot. Rundlich slides across and makes the save again. Here's Weir, bumped by Shella and Ruskowski. Going to be a penalty here to the Arrows. Now the puck comes to Kluche. Checked by Lukowicz, who shoots at the center, and play is called. And John Shella is going to get a penalty here for the Arrows, as Arrows finally had Weir lined up. He's been throwing his weight around here in this series thus far, taking a few cheap shots at Ruskowski, and Shella had him lined up, and they let Mr. Weir know they had a few strong feelings for him.
Well, that one might be worth it, because they really rocked Weir in the corner. Shella being awfully aggressive. He just piled into Weir. Ruskowski coming in there in the secondary shot. Weir's a big factor back on that blue line for Quebec as far as toughness. Now the Arrows, if they can kill this one off, but they've been a little bit loose with that puck. That's the only thing that scares you, Jerry. But other than that, they have done some good aggressive hitting in that first.
I tell you what's got the Arrows fired up with Weir. He came out of the Quebec dressing room after that last game and just went up to the Arrows bus and walked down the length of the bus just laughing at the guys. And, you know, there's no call for that. Doesn't take much professionalism to do that, does it?
I'll tell you, if he's a pro, he never gives him an edge, and that may be an edge.
Here is Tardif for Quebec. Shooting the puck to center ice right under the stick of John Hughes. The Arrows a man short. Hughes clears it into that Quebec zone. Back is Gary Lariviere with Andre Lacroix after him. Now Fitchner with that puck. Here's Lacroix fighting for it. Steals it. Brodeur checks it away. And here's Lariviere. Now in the far corner to Alain Cote. Checked by Taylor in that corner. They fight for that puck. Now it comes loose for Mark Tardif. Tardif drops it off for Bob Fitchner. Fitchner lost it in front of his own goal, but Tardif picks it up, and the Nordiques break out 3-on-2. Right wing pass in for Kluche. Into that Houston zone. Kluche in deep trying to make a play. At the left point for Fitchner. Right point, Gary Lariviere. A shot. Rutledge the save. Rebound on the end boards. Here's Kluche. Centers it. Andre Lacroix breaks it up for the Arrows and starts out with Ted Taylor. Taylor for Houston. Along the far boards. Back in his own zone to John Hughes. Hughes, lead pass for Taylor at that Houston line. Taylor, now to Andre Lacroix. Lacroix got it to Taylor on right wing. Moving to the Quebec line, shoots it back into the Houston zone. Poupille for the Arrows, out to Andre Lacroix. 52 seconds left in the penalty as Cloutier runs at Lacroix, and here's Taylor shooting it down the ice for the Arrows. And again, this crowd roaring with every move the Arrows make. Now here comes Mark Tardif for the Nordiques. On right wing to Gary Lariviere as Tardif and Ruskowski have a little battle.